What is up, guys? It is Sunday night. I was thinking about going live today, and I didn't get around to it. I got really busy, and I'm at the shop tonight working on a vehicle, but I wanted to talk about a few topics and get your opinion for some videos that I want to discuss this week. And shout out to all of the true members. What is up? Who gave me that? There's a couple people that made donations, and I'm going to shout you out in the next video. Angie, I know you have given before. There was a couple people that gave super thanks, and I want to say thank you very much. And I will read back over and see who it was. I think it was Carolyn, maybe it was one, and then I missed one from way back when. But just thank you very much for supporting the channel while we're in the transition and rebuilding the right audience. So this is a car I restored, by the way. It's a 2003 Impala. So the neighbor, basically the transmission went out, and the neighbor had it towed to his house, and the tow truck dropped it off on my body shop lot instead of his house. And I'm like, great. So I said, are you going to get that moved to your house? Yeah. A week later, are you going to get it moved? Yeah. 3 weeks in, it's still on my lot. And so I finally asked him, what are you going to do with this thing? He's like, I don't know. I said, I'll give you $100 for it. He goes, well, how about 400? I'm like, no, 300. And then he said, how about 350? Because we just got tires for it. And I was like, okay, fine. So I paid him $350 for the car. And guess what? 3 of the 4 tires had the steel poking out. It was worn down to the to the steel belted radials. So anyway, I had to put another transmission in. It was smoked in. It had a heavy cigarette and weed stench, and I redid the entire interior. I scrubbed this thing for months, and the interior is now like super clean. Smells good. And I also redid the headliner. That was my first headliner job. Brand new headliner up there. And then check it out, I even pulled out the dash. So here's the dash. I restored the dash. It was all cracked up, tons of cracks, holes, and I took them all out, and I even made a new crystal here, you know, where the dash cluster is. I had to cut that out of plexiglass and heat it up with a heat gun and put the curvature in it and everything, and I was pretty proud of myself with that. And then I also had to replace all of the metal under the car because it was rotted out all the way down from the front tires to the back. And then I had to patch big rust holes in the floor pans. So here's a $350 car. And oh, of course, I painted it, even restored, you know, the lights here are nice and shiny. Look at this shine here, okay? So it did not look like that before. I painted it head to toe. I'm still doing some wet sanding, buffing, and polishing. And then I got to put tires on it. And by the time I get done, you're going to have a fully restored 2003 Impala that I'll have to probably get like $6,000 for this car in order just to make it worth my time. And that's not making as much profit as what I spent in the time it took to do the paint job. So thought I'd do a little show and tell there. But I want to know what your thoughts are about Ilhan Omar shooting off her mouth, like sticking up for Iran and acting like we're the bad guys and we should leave Iran alone, like the Ayatollah was a good guy, okay? I'm so disgusted with that, knowing that her and her husband are stealing. And so it's like, okay, you come over here and you turn this country into the doormat of the world, where everyone comes in, we can't wave our flags and be proud of the United States, but everyone can come in and insult the country and say that we're all bad. And then we're dumb enough that we let these people bilk us for billions of dollars. That really has me upset. So I want to know what your thoughts are on that, because I still want to dig into Ilhan Omar. And then the other thing that I'd like to talk about that I want to know your opinion on is definitely the Jesse Jackson funeral. Did you see what President Obama did at the funeral? Which was bad, but not nearly as bad as Kamala and freaking Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is a crook, and I've had personal experience with brother Al. Okay. Number one, he was a dope dealer not too long ago. We're talking a few decades, but I had a direct dealing with him, and I can tell that story sometime if you want to hear it. He's a liar. He's a fraud. I can guarantee you that. Okay. But I thought Kamala's comments at that funeral were the worst. That was just awful. Jesse Jackson's son said, "Hey, don't turn this into a political, campaign." Right? He said, "Leave the politics out of it." And what does Kamala do? She didn't say one word about Jesse Jackson. She gets right up there and said, "Well, guys, I'm not the type to tell you I told you so, but I predicted all of this," and just launches straight into talking about Trump and the war. I thought that was really, really of poor taste. And I felt bad for the Jackson family. I can't imagine if I'm at my dad's funeral and somebody turned it into a political event like that. That's just awful. And I didn't expect that. But what topics are on your mind? Share with me what you'd like to hear my opinion about this week. And maybe it'll come up as a topic. So again, shout out to all the true ones that are always in the comments, keeping up the great conversations. Love you guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.